A quick research into the origins of the Visayans once again proves the carbon-organic origins of the people whom inhabited the region in ancient times, and their descendants still remain to this very day. The Visayas, or the Visayan Islands, are one of the three principal geographical divisions of the Philippines. The major islands of the Visayas are Panay, Negros, Cebu, Bohol, Leyte, and Samar. Visayans were first referred to by the general term pintados, the painted ones, by the Spanish, in reference to the prominent practice of full-body tattooing. Negros is one of the many islands of the Visayas, in the central part of the country. The predominant inhabitants of the island region are mainly called Negrense. Negros was originally called Buglas, an old Hiligaynon word thought to mean cut off, as the island was thought to have been separated from a larger landmass. It was also known as Mamalan and Panalugan among Cebuano-speaking Visayans. Among its earliest inhabitants were the Aboriginal Ata, one of several Negrito indigenous peoples dispersed throughout Southeast Asia that possesses a unique culture. The term Negrito, little black person, refers to several diverse ethnic groups who inhabit isolated parts of Southeast Asia and the Andaman Islands. Populations often described as Negrito include the Andamanese peoples, including the Great Andamanese, the Onge, the Jarawa, and the Sentinelese of the Andaman Islands, the Semang peoples, among them, the Batak people of Peninsular Malaysia, the Manik people of southern Thailand, as well as the Ida of Luzon, the Adi and Tumandak of Panay, the Mamanwa of Mindanao, and about 30 other officially recognized ethnic groups in the Philippines. Upon arriving on the island in April 1565, the Spanish colonizers called the land Negros after the dark-skinned natives they had observed. Based on perceived physical similarities, Negritos were once considered a single population of closely related people. However, genetic studies suggest that they consist of several separate groups descended from the same ancient East Eurasian metapopulation that gave rise to modern East Asian peoples and Oceanian peoples, as well as displaying genetic heterogeneity. The Negritos formed the indigenous population of Southeast Asia, but were largely absorbed by Austroasiatic and Austronesian-speaking groups who migrated from southern East Asia into mainland and insular Southeast Asia with the Neolithic expansion. The remainders form minority groups in geographically isolated regions. A Negrito-like population was most likely also present in Taiwan before the Neolithic expansion and must have persisted into historical times, as suggested by evidence from morphological features of human skeletal remains dating from around 6,000 years ago resembling Negritos, especially Itis in northern Luzon, and further corroborated by Chinese reports from the Qing period rule of Taiwan, 1684 to 1895. There are also tales by Taiwanese indigenous peoples about people with dark skin, short and small body stature, frizzy hair, and occupation in forested mountains or remote caves. The Adi are a Negrito ethnic group and indigenous peoples in the Visayan Islands of the Philippines. Their small numbers are principally concentrated on the islands of Boracay, Panay, and Negros. They are genetically related to other Negrito ethnic groups in the Philippines such as the Ida of Luzon, the Batak of Palawan, the Agta of the Sierra Madres, and the Mamanwa of Mindanao. The Negritos are the descendants of the same early East Eurasian metapopulation, which also gave rise to modern East Asians and Australasians, among other populations of the Asia-Pacific region. The earliest modern human migrations into the Philippine archipelago were during the Paleolithic, around 40,000 years ago, followed by two other migration waves between 25,000 and 12,000 years ago, through the Sundaland land bridges that linked the islands with the Asian mainland. The latest migration wave is associated with the Austronesian peoples 7,000 years ago from Taiwan. The Philippine Negritos display relatively closer genetic affinity towards different Eastern Asian populations, prehistoric Hoabinian samples, as well as to the indigenous people of New Guinea and Aboriginal Australians, from which they diverged around 40,000 years ago, and also display genetic substructure along a north to south cline, suggesting their ancestral population diverged into two subgroups after the initial peopling of the Philippines. Furthermore, they display high percentages of Denisovan gene flow. While some Southeast Asian Negrito populations carry Denisovan admixture, others, such as the Andamanese, have none. In addition, low traces of Denisovan-derived ancestry have been found in mainland Asia, with an elevated Denisovan ancestry in South Asian populations compared to other mainland populations. Exploring derived alleles from Denisovans, Sankararaman et al., 2016, estimated that the date of Denisovan admixture was 44,000 to 54,000 years ago. They also determined that the Denisovan admixture was the greatest in Oceanian populations compared to other populations with observed Denisovan ancestry, i.e. America, Central Asia, East Asia, and South Asia. A study in 2021 analyzing archaic ancestry in 118 Philippine ethnic groups discovered an independent admixture event into Philippine Negritos from Denisovans. The Ada Magbukan in particular were found to possess the highest level of Denisovan ancestry in the world. Ida, Agta, and Dumagat are collective terms for several indigenous peoples who live in various parts of Luzon Islands in the Philippines. They are included in the wider Negrito grouping of South and Southeast Asia, with whom they share superficial common physical characteristics such as dark skin tones, short statures, frizzy to curly hair, and a higher frequency of naturally lighter hair color, blondism, relative to the general population. They are thought to be among the earliest inhabitants of the Philippines, preceding the Austronesian migrations. Regardless, the modern Ida populations have significant Austronesian admixture and speak Austronesian languages. The endonyms of most of the various Ida peoples are derived from Proto-Malayo-Polynesian word ta, also reconstructed as Ada meaning dark-skinned person. Lawrence A. Reed wrote that ta may have originally been the Negrito word for person in northern Luzon, but was adopted into Austronesian languages with the meaning of dark-skinned person after the arrival of Austronesian migrants to the Philippines from Taiwan. A common folk etymology is that the name Ida is derived from item or item meaning black. Mining, deforestation, illegal logging, and slash-and-burn farming have caused the indigenous population in the country to steadily decrease to the point where they number only in the thousands today. The Philippine government affords them little or no protection, and the Ida have become extremely nomadic due to social and economic strain on their culture and way of life that had previously remained unchanged for thousands of years. Now we have explored the male lineage and shown them to be carbon organic progenitors of the region whose descendants still live in these environments. Do not be fooled, as the hybrid albino Asiatics are just as wicked as their hybrid albino European pale cousins.